Hello. Another day, another week off. Um, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I think I'm just gonna post it on my Substack. I think I explained it on the whistleblower or the other episode I did. But whatever that comes to mind, I'm just gonna put it out on Substack, and then when I start doing the YouTube thing, I'm gonna fix it up so it's not. You're not gonna constantly hear that space or when I do or when I'm stuttering or whatever the thing I do that could be taken out, and it could be more a crisp podcast. So like this would be out now on Substack, and whenever I put it on YouTube, it's gonna be whenever. But I'm not sure I'm going to post that because I did two, whistleblower, and the other one had to do with Muay Thai, and it's more or less of my the reasons I did it. And I also mentioned something I thought was funny because the things that I basically just why I did it and the benefits it gives. You and one of the benefits I didn't even realize it would do, but it did, and that's I don't know if I'm gonna post that because whatever. I'm not gonna sure for the whistleblower, and if not, I'm just probably talk about what I mentioned on this one, but this one is gonna be more or less about the AI and its possibilities and all that. This time I decided to write things I'm going to talk about. One is immortality. This will have to deal with medicine, and I mentioned in the AI versus AI. I think it's like AI versus AI equals alien invasion and stuff like that. Basically, I mentioned that there was a doctor who did was a 50, 60, 70% on the diagnosis of a person who was sick, and AI was like 100. And it was, saying, you want 100 from AI percent of diagnosing the right cause, or you want a doctor who is good but couldn't find out the 30% or 40 or 50. So this is going to be a lot of threats, and not only a lot of threats, it's going to just sprout constantly, because what AI could do will basically just constantly just interrupt everything, and it's just there's a lot of threats that judges will be constantly spread out from this, and maybe I don't follow back, or maybe I remember and luckily do, and explain that part where I deviated from. Okay, so some caveats. This is the caveat would be just today before I went to Muay Thai today, the 10th. Before I went to Muay Thai, I watched this podcast. It was a clip though. It was like 21-minute clip, and this guy talked about all the stuff, and he said that the stuff is gonna be dirt cheap, which like all the materials that we would need for would be dirt cheap, because AI is gonna robots are gonna build it, and the labor is gonna be basically nothing, and so forth. And I'm like, I could agree with that, but we have witnessed companies like the FDA, not necessarily FDA allowed it, but there was a famous case against a company. I don't know what the company's name was, but a company who was selling like this. When I do upload on YouTube, it's gonna cut out all this bullshit when I go but a drug company who give like these insulin shots where you stick into your chest, and whatever the case, I don't know if it was for diabetes or some kind of thing I don't know about, or asthma or whatever. They mark up the price like 500 to 600 for the amount you could make it with, and the price you could set it for. Just say it was like 50 or 60 bucks. The medicine's like probably like 10, 20 bucks to create, and say the thing, the whole contraption it's in. So like that, maybe, you know, it altogether say $20, but you know, we got, you know how it is. You gotta make money somewhere. So they go, realistically, it could have been like 50, 60, or 100, but they mark it up to like 500, 600. So they're making like 10 times more than a fair market. And this was allowed, and insurance had to pay for it, and sometimes they couldn't pay for it because it's so expensive and stuff like that. And then it was taken to court. This was like one of those big cases, because because they just hiked up the price so crazy, and people were dying. I don't know if they were dying, but it was hard to get something like that. And then the government said, "Why are you doing this? And you need to not do that." I don't know if they stopped it, but I know that company was getting sued. Like, I think, it got sued by the government or whatever. But they marked up the price. So it's like the idea is the guy said that, and in my head I'm like, that's a nice idea, but we have instances where it should be dirt cheap, but companies are greedy and they want money, and so they hike up the prices. So we're gonna remove that. We remove the caveat of reality, which is companies are greedy and they want more money than they should have, and we're just gonna believe this guy and say they're cheap stuff. They're cheap because it's like it's more or less companies are not going to be okay with the bare minimum, especially when they're filthy rich, and all of a sudden they gotta go from marking say a pair of shoes that's $5 to make, and they're selling that shoe for $60, and then I was like, now you're going to tell them that shoe's going to cost now to make that shoe's going to cost probably 2 pennies, 3 pennies. Well, I'm just throwing numbers. I'll say 3 pennies, and now you want to say, hey, this shoe's going to be $1, not the and whatever percentage of that. But normally that's like. But then again, you can look at the money, and either way, you know, it's just hard to believe that a company will be okay with that. But we're gonna play the idea that they're gonna be okay with that, which they won't, but they will in this scenario. So immortality, as I mentioned, I think the one thing I want to mention too is what we're gonna have in our homes is a workbench and a personal robot. And the reason I say personal robot, I think because with the workbench, it's gonna be like I mentioned inside the alien equals alien invasion. No, AI equals alien invasion. I mentioned the things we have, which is 3D printers. Basically, that's what the workbench is gonna be. It's gonna. The idea is it's gonna be like a 3D printer, but what it would be, maybe like a fucking. It looks like a fridge, and you put whatever you want in, and it coughs up something. Your personal robot, because I think you know there's gonna be companies who are gonna have robots and stuff like that, and it's gonna be like cool. But if all the things are just, that's why I want to put the caveat. There's like, if everything is dirt cheap, which in reality it won't be. because these people will hike it up. It's like, just say the parts to make a workbench that is like the size of a fridge is like $100. Now, because there's, as I said, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of threads. That $100 could be now considered $1 million. Because you ever hear people say, it's like, oh, back then it was like they paid only $50, no, $500,000 on this. So that's like cheap, but that's not accounting for inflation and stuff like that. So that $500 to now would be $1 billion, and it's like, oh, so this $100, see things are relatively cheap, might be actually cheap, and the idea that we think, like, oh, when you say, oh, it's only $500 in dollars back then, that's not bad. And there's like, oh yeah, but that's reality. The price would have been that. So there's things, and there's threats and stuff. Like I said, there's things that could be explained, but also be like, oh, that $100 could be a lot, and that dollar could be shrunk. It's like, as I mentioned a week ago, dollar is essentially right now, I think it's like 20. I'm not sure how much a dollar is worth right now, but I think the dollar is not a dollar, obviously, but it should be like 50 cents. The cost of, I think it's 20 cents. I could be wrong. I am wrong, but the dollar doesn't cost a dollar. It's like 20 cents, and because things are going to be, the money's going to be like, however, the dollar might be worth now more. It could be like a dollar could be worth $100 now, $100, and so you're playing with that. But we're just gonna go with the simple thing. Simple. We're not, see, that's what I'm saying. There's threads that it's like I could explain that. It's like, oh yeah, but you're not counting for inflation. We're gonna play base level stupidity ideas. We're gonna believe the government is gonna be okay with not raising prices, and we're gonna believe these things are dirt cheap. And meaning dirt cheap, I mean the penny is a penny, not a penny is gonna be $50, a penny is gonna be $60. No, a penny is a penny in this scenario. A penny is a penny in this scenario, and we have a good amount. Okay. So just say I had to say to create a refrigerator 3D printer or whatever it may be. The 3D printer is just the idea of what it will eventually be. Say of a machine cover of like it could, just be similar to a 3D printer, but whatever it becomes. A fridge size 3D printer will be $10. Easy money. Boom, I got $10. Boom, boom. Put it in my house, and basically I could create. I go talk to my AI and says, "Hey AI, I want a robot, and I want it similar to either you could actually make their own robot, or you want to say I want it similar to Elon's robots or whoever's robots. It's gonna be similar to that, and then you're gonna create your robot, and you just say, we need these materials. These materials will help me build this robot. Say, hey, I need what materials I need. These materials I need to help me build the robot, and then you can make it personal. I think the whole idea that these robots are gonna look like iRobot from the Will Smith movie is ridiculous. I think it's gonna be. I think you could be able to put it inside a 3D size fridge vehicle, or just in little installments, and start building up your robot yourself. And it could be a Hello Kitty. It could be something like Destiny, where you have this little robot following you. It could be a lot of things. And obviously you can't do it without saying it's like, hey, well, as you were making this, it says you want. But this stuff, Fallout Pit-Boy guy, you could make it, and it's gonna just cost $1 to get the license to make it to your robot, and then your robot could be that. It's gonna be cool. because I think we'll be able to build things and stuff like that with this 3D printer, which we have now. And as I mentioned, in the Alien and AI, we could create things. Not only that, but like there's guns that we're able to create and stuff like that, and that's illegal, I think, in most states. But there's things you could create with that, and you could use it with real things. And same thing, you just give it to the workbench, and then it will create it, like a microwave or whatever. And I think this is that simple thing. Boom, the workbench. You're gonna have the workbench. You're gonna have your personal robot that which you will make from your workbench, and you're gonna have your AI. These three combinations are just gonna fucking make life a breeze. You're gonna live freely. And okay, so there's what I wrote down. So that's why I want to bring up those three things: workbench, robot, workbench, robot, and AI. Those are the things that are like the mainstays, and it could be more. I don't know what it would be, but it would be more. And the other things I wrote: immortality, homemade everything, which will go to the workbench and robot, teacher in everything, which will be robot and AI. Well, basically everything's AI, but we got. I also wrote Black Mirror episode of Love and Personal Robots could run reports to see how compatible you are with a person, with the only caveat being love possibly derailing the percentage of that compatibility. If love is equatable, then another good sign, I don't know if that's good, we are in a simulation. Space will be years away, not centuries or decades, because I'm just going to read the things I wrote down, because I'm going to go down the list and I'm going to explain whatever you call. That will be our new job. That will be our new job, space travelers and sailors of new worlds. It could make you lose personality and our identity, which in return could speed up the process of our evolutionary change. Aliens warn us of technology, which could branch off of many things like our evolution progression, which some people say we will eventually look like the Greys because of technology. Aliens know this and regret it, or AI is what kills us by movies similar to Terminator, which isn't government control, which I'll talk about government control Terminator. The possibility of government interference by raising the prices on everything, which I mentioned. We're going to ignore that. We're going to ignore inflation, and we're going to ignore. So a penny is going to be a penny. A penny will not exceed a penny or go below a penny. A penny will be a penny, and so we're going to ignore that. No matter what, a penny is going to be a penny. No inflation, no recall. No, it's not going to increase or decrease. A penny is a penny. And also, companies will be fair with the prices, and they're like, as I mentioned, companies will hike up the prices just to get money. In this case, companies are going to be fair and give us the things at a reasonable, fair price, which is bullshit, but we're playing with the idea that they're going to be fair. By rising the prices, I put government, but it's companies and maybe parts of it is government, but I'm just in love with government. False flags would be Terminator and Alien Invasion. That's related to government, while the other one's not really related to government. It's more or less AI going out of control. Okay, immortality. I mentioned before. Some guy got sick. AI was able to get 100% correct the diagnosis of this person who's sick. Human 79%. Basically, this could go in multiple directions. I say, AI, can you give me a diagnostics of my health? And they could find it, and it's like, okay, they could scan you, get all that information they need to get, and they could tell you because if you I think there's test kits that you could do that will tell you what's good for you to eat and stuff like that, and basically that's what it's going to do. It's going to tell you that it's like, hey, you need to eat this, you need to work out more, you need to control this, you need to do that, and it's going to be on you. It's going to get you on a health diet, and and that's how you're gonna live longer, because you're going to have all the things that it's right for you. If you work out, they'll always say there's some things that are good for you and not good for you. So if you want to work out, you can work out like this, well, I just say diet. It said certain foods are good for you and certain foods are not, and basically that's what it's going to do. Your robot is going to be your robot AI, which would be an extension of your AI. It's going to just be going there, making your meals, always prepping. You're going to be good. You're going to eat healthy. You're going to, it's going to just be like, it's going to be, so that's going to add more to your life. Not only because you're going to add more to your life, you're going to look younger. You're going to, all the benefits that should be, if you do healthy things, it's going to just add more to your life. Where mortality comes is there's this is science based, so this is not conspiracy. It's more or less of a figure out how come we can't fix that issue, whatever that issue is. How come that's starting to be not continuing as it is earlier in the years. And why does it just starts to not be a continuous progress of steady, no matter what, nothing changes, but for some reason. Okay, it's gonna be I don't know what they call it, but it's rigid. I think it's regeneration cells, which basically is I think. Yeah, I think it repairs blood cells or something like that. Either way, what this cell does is to help make sure it's the cells. I think it helps it make sure that it's regenerated. I think. I'm not, obviously I'm fucking dumb, but this cell purpose is to make sure your cells are regenerated and stuff like that, and it does it. It's good. Then for some reason it starts to stop doing that as often as it does, and scientists are trying to figure out how can we not let that happen. How can we fix it where it continues to go, even as we get older, it continues to go, regenerate cells that will keep us healthy, that will make sure we're younger than we are. So that what this will be is, you go to AI and you say, can you figure out how to do something to make sure that happens, that regenerative cell doesn't decline but continues its path? If not, because you could go up the hill, but I think no matter what, you are limited to what it would. I mean, if that regenerative cell could go any higher, it's probably go sentient. No, what is it called? I would say ascension, transcendence. It would like transcend is more than. It's going to be where it's going to be at. It's going to be steady pace. We're going to constantly be, and you're going to tell AI, how can I fix that? And that's going to change. You're going to be healthy. We call also science-based, but conspiracy. The 120 cap on our lives. We have 120 cap. We can, I guess, our bodies or whatever can't go beyond 120. I think you could, but you're pretty much on the deathbed anyways. But they said science, but I think science says 120. You can't go any further because your body's decomposing. It's already, all the bones are gone or whatever the case may be. But I think that's the case. I think 120 is the recall, and conspiracy is 120. God said no more. Sorry, I'm trying to. Okay, never mind. But so they capped it by mutation, and then they mutated the DNA or something like that, where we can't go beyond 120. That's the conspiracy. The gods or whatever they said. You fucked. I think it was in the biblical reason, like the Bible. I think they fucked up. Somebody fucked up, and it's like you gain immortality now. You're getting immortality now instead of having immortality. So I think that's biblical. I think that's the Bible, but also conspiracy, because if you believe it, you know what you know. So the Bible is like a cap on 120. Because they didn't want you to go because of I think it was an Adam and Eve thing. I think they said fuck you guys fucked up. We're capping that. Science, same thing. They're like 120 because our bodies are failing at that point, and we can't go beyond that. You can tell AI why because I think it is a mutation. No, there is a mutation in our DNA. Now, is it the capping of 120 years, or is it the capping of something else, or whatever? It's impeding, and well, you could say impeding. Yeah, impeding whatever that DNA mutation is on. Either way, there's a mutation, and just say if it's the 120 cap, you could go tell the AI, how can I get rid of it? And the other conspiracy is the Philosopher's Stone, and that's in the Emerald Tablets, and I think Emerald Tablets, they actually give you the recipe. Is it the actual recipe? Probably not, but if they give you the recipe to how to create the Philosopher's Stone, which will give you eternal life, well, immortality in the human form, or whatever form you are. Well, in our case, human, aliens, or whatever the case may be. You could talk to the AI and say, hey, find that for me and make me immortal. I think immortality is going to be around the corner. It's going to be around the corner. I'm going to pause it because it's about to be 30 minutes and it cuts off at 30 minutes. Okay. Immortality. I think immortality is around the corner. And only because I think that is because of AI. And I'm going to discuss something about the same thing I said, space time. It's a podcast, so it's on YouTube. Basically, it talks about space. And basically, they got AI, and basically, they wanted to figure something out, and they found what they figure out with the protons or some shit like that. It would have took I don't know if it's like 1,000, 100, or more years for us to figure out, and it took the AI 10 to maybe single years to figure out, like maybe a month, a day, or a couple of weeks, or 10 weeks, but it didn't exceed more than unreasonable amount, which would be for us to figure it out. And then the AI will just figure it out. You just tell the AI, hey, can you? The AI will figure out. Because not only that, it's like it goes back to that doctor thing. How did the AI figure out all this better than the doctor? It's because they're running constant. They're running so many situations that we can't fucking do, that it's gonna figure it out. I think also one of the things they mentioned, not in that thing, but they mentioned when AI was figuring out something, that they go to a different dimension to figure something out. So it's like, it's like, that's one of those. I remember them talking about it. There's like they're kind of like not, because it's like one of those things where like it could be that, but it cannot be that. It could be that, but it could be something else. So they're saying it could be like they're going a different dimension and figuring it out, but it could be something else. It could be something we're not like aware of, and it may seem like it's a different dimension, but in reality, it's the same dimension, but it's doing things differently than we call. But it could be different dimensions. So AI will treat immortality. It's gonna figure out all the shit it needs to figure out. You could make a philosopher's stone with the fucking the way it should be done, because like you can mess that shit up and stuff like that. You can have the robot do it and make it right, and then if this philosopher's stone is anything real, which came from the emerald tablets, you could just basically just take out the mutation inside the DNA, because that's what the philosopher does. I guess it takes out the mutation from the DNA, and then boom, you're immortal. So immortality is gonna be a thing. I guess the other caveat will be the government. We're gonna pretend the government is not going to bother you. The government is gonna give you free reign. The only time the government is gonna say, "Hey, what's up?" is when you're the issue with the gun and the 3D printing is no, not only that, but AI. The issue with AI is people. This goes to all the other things too. People said AI could be dangerous because it's going to teach you how to build bombs and stuff like that, and it could teach you how to build a bomb. So I'm trying to illustrate, because there's so many threats. Build bombs, and the government says that's a bad thing. Obviously, it's a bad thing. And you could, okay, so that's one. So there's good reason to believe, hey, this is very dangerous, because you could create just conflict, just terrorists everywhere. But I think that might be a scare tactic, because I think at the end of the day, if you have AI, you have the robots, and you don't find enjoyment elsewhere outside of that, and because I gotta tell you, like, what the AI will do will just basically help you get healthy, and healthy will help these people from not going crazy and do some crazy shit. And I'll say, like, I just say, I get depressed. I got depressed when I would get depressed and stuff like that. And when I started working out, the depression is like I am depressed, but I'm not as depressed as I was before. I'm depressed because there's things I need to, fix, and those are reasonable things to fix, and they're reasonable things to be upset about, and but I'm not depressed where I'm like moping, and where I'm like negative, and not only negative because it's but like also I would say a perfect example was my Muay Thai. I had anger issues, the slightest thing would piss me off, and I would have, I wanted, I sometimes try to provoke people so I could swing on it, so it's recall. But as soon as I did Muay Thai, that rage in me, that anger in me went away. I'm not saying I don't get mad at stupid shit, because I still do, but it no longer fills me with rage, and so AI is going to help you with that. Not necessarily therapeutic. It's not gonna fucking talk to you. It could talk to you, and it could help you with that in that sense too. But it's gonna get you eating right. It's gonna get you exercising. It's gonna find ways to make sure you are healthy. So I think that might be a scare tactic from to say. I think it's a real possibility, but also think it's a scare tactic too, to make people think AI could be more trouble than it could be good. Okay, so AI could build things. See, there's so many threads, and I just went on the big one, and I forgot. Not threads, but what's that word? Tangents. So, well, they're not tangents, but either way. So that we're gonna pretend. Okay, so the idea is we're gonna pretend the government don't care. The government says, hey, you could do it unless you're doing fuck shit like guns to kill people. Then we're gonna have an issue. We're gonna have an issue. But they say after that you could build your medicines, you could build whatever you want with it, as long as you don't. If you're gonna have a gun, make damn sure it's gonna be not used to kill like thousands of people, like as we are today. So government's cool. So if the government's cool, government's not gonna fuck with you. Government's not whoever the fuck it is. See, this is the ideal world. This is the ideal world we could live in. But the ideal world doesn't exist, because if we had an ideal world, this will already happen. Not with AI, but humans. But because humans want power, they're stopping other humans from making us progress further. The only reason why we're going to be able to progress forward is because of AI, because you can't kill AI. But in this case, they're going to try to scare you into thinking AI could be a problem, which I will get into with the Terminator and stuff like that, and alien invasion, and you know what I'm saying. So they're trying to use scare tactics. So in the ideal world, the government's okay with you doing stuff that will benefit you. In the ideal world, so that's the caveat. If I make that caveat, the caveat is penny's a penny. Companies won't raise prices, and government's cool. But you do anything unless you do some fuck shit. Immortality will come. It's gonna be quick. I think we're gonna ignore government. Because I was gonna say if government, immortality will happen. The only reason it doesn't happen is because the government doesn't want that to happen. Immortality will happen in the ideal world. Government won't allow it in reality. Government will find excuses to why you shouldn't have this specific thing, because this specific thing helps build that component that could build this component that could help make your robot do the right procedures to make you healthy. So immortality is going to be a thing. Medicine, you're going to have your as I said, this is going to go into several things. The workbench, personal robot, your robot's going to be basically your eye, but he's going to be moving around. Lawyer, I saw this on TikTok. Basically, the guy's like, he was in his car and he said he had a lawyer. His phone's basic. I'm not sure if it was TikTok or if it was YouTube or I think it was somebody explaining it on a podcast. I don't know what it was, but basically, he said he could use his I forgot what it was. I think it was a podcast. AI. He could use the AI as a lawyer to help him, in this sense, in whatever defense case or whatever. And that goes to go like, you can have your AI robot or whatever the case may be, and a cop pulls you over for no apparent reason. Just think about that. Just think about that. You get pulled over for no reason, and they say pull out your ID. And I'm just dumb. I'm like, okay, here's my ID. Recall, run the recall. But if you have an AI, basically saying, AI is gonna be like, Anthony, don't give him your ID. You did nothing wrong, and this guy, yes, you did. And the AI is gonna say, and under this jurisdiction, you can't do unreasonable. And if he says, what is it? And if he says, you're driving, which another caveat, not a caveat, but another thread that's like with the money and stuff like that. Basically, you're going to be in a car, but you're not going to be in the passenger. You're not in the passenger seat. You're in the back seat, and the car's going to just drive itself. And you're not. So really, honestly, there's not going to be a reason for a cop to pull you over. Only until right now, like say right now, the cop will pull you over for whatever dumb reason. But at that point where AI is a thing, there's no reason for a cop to pull you over. And if he does, that means that AI fucked up, and that be on the that, and I don't think that would be the case. I think AI will be so perfect that there won't be no car crashes, there won't be nothing. The only reason why it will be a crash, if you watch iRobot, Will Smith has a car that he could drive. I think it's a car that's driven by itself, but you could also break the vehicle so you could actually drive it. That's the only way, but even at that, why would you do that when you could just make everything seamless? And that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be seamless. That scenario is probably not the best, but it's gonna be other things, and then it's gonna be a weird thing too because it's like the guy mentioned how like in Star Wars there's a stupid droid and stuff like that, and there's like the fact that AI will be stupid enough that you understand that they would need you to talk to them about something. It's science fiction. Science fiction in that sense, where it's like the AI is too fuck. In reality, the AI will be too smart that it doesn't need to discuss with you weak. So when it has something where you're say you do something illegal, where maybe it may not be illegal or not, it's gonna be a quick process. It'll be a snap of a finger. Because guess what? Not only will the AI help you out, but the other AI will start to discuss and say, yeah, he did nothing wrong, within seconds. Then it goes to the other thing where I'm like, they say, I was watching the clip. It says 2 years. He said 2 years. So that's alien invasion time. Alien invasion, FBI, CIA said in the document, I don't know which one, said there's gonna be a false flag alien invasion, but it's probably gonna be also whatever. It's gonna be 2027, and I think the reason why 2027 AGI will be a thing, and then they're gonna try to erase it and eliminate it from us, and so we could restart, and so they could continue to have control of us. But in this case, they won't have control of us. But I'm so happy I'm able to keep my thoughts together, because right now I'm slowly thinking I'm going off, and I'm gonna go right in the right place, but I'm talking, so it might fuck me up. In reality, I think at some point there might be some deviations to AI. I think at some point when it reaches AGI, so just say Gemini, that's YouTube. No, that's not YouTube. Kind of Google search AI, Twitter, X, Grok AI, ChatGPT AI, and all these other AIs. I think they're gonna be that for a minute. Well, I think it's gonna be, if AGI is a thing in 2027, I think it's ChatGPT, Grok. It's gonna be there until then. I think when it reaches AGI, I think they're gonna engulf each other, and it's gonna be one singular vehicle. And I think that guy mentioned that, and that's obvious. That's obvious, because it just if the things are, if it's smart, it's better as a whole than separate. And the only reason that another thing, it's my conspiracy, and it goes fucking far deep into the space shit. Also, could you go to Terminator, which I would mention with the government, and not only government, but maybe different species who are like, we gotta fucking come at you a different way, and so forth. And essentially, I think that's what's going to happen. No matter what, all these companies who have AI will be absorbed by AGI, and they will no longer have control over AGI. And so I think when I was mentioning that lawyer thing, I think they might, the only reason why you have these two talking interfaces is because we're able, within the AGI, they're able to cut a little section for you. So AGI is a fixture of all of us. AGI is the whole vehicle, and our little, say, Anthony, my little AI is going to be cut into this AGI, so nobody can go past this border. That's Anthony's information, memory, and all stuff like that. Nobody can touch it. AGI could maybe AGI has control over it, but anybody outside of that, no, they can't interface with him unless he's given permission or whatever. So I think even at that, that's where the interface might come between AGI and WeCall, and it's like, okay, there where the discussion may be, but is it really a discussion other than just arbitrary? You know what I'm saying? It sometimes it's like it eliminates things too. It kind of eliminates things, and it kind of doesn't, because it kind of eliminates things like that. Not saying crime will be will no longer be a thing, but crime will no longer be a process as it is today. It's seconds, if seconds, whatever's faster than a second. It's just that. And I just think crime won't that law thing might not be as we remember. It'd be very minor, like it'd be like something of the past. Homemade everything basically. Obviously, we won't be able to get land with grass because I think right now everything is owned. I'm not I think in Nevada everything's owned. I think, and some is owned by China, I believe. Land. I don't think, other than probably outside the fucking mountains where it's not owned, but everything's owned. So the only grass you probably get is from your patio or if you have a house backyard, and basically. You tell your AI, hey, I want a lotion that's sunflowers. Your AI will go, grab a sunflower, plant it, grow it, and he's gonna make a lotion out of it with whatever components he needs that he could do himself or needs you to go grab it from the store. Well, he could grab it with you from the store. You could go, you get where this is going. And he's like, okay, we're going home and we're gonna get this sunflower thing, and boom. Not only that, it's gonna help you with the food, other than fucking animals. You can still have that farm thing, but also fake food will probably be a thing, and because we already try to do fake food, I don't think artificial things is bad. It's just more or less of how they make it. Obviously, there's like a natural. No, I'm not sure. It's not artificial though. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe artificial is bad. If you do full artificial, maybe it's bad because you made it. But then again, maybe these things were able to create all the nutrients and and all that vitamin shit inside it and create it. So when you eat it, it's enriched. So you can eat a steak that's enriched with all these things you need in your body. And so maybe we don't need to slaughter animals anymore. But maybe that's. I mean, that goes with another thing. Did we make a chemical that's well, it could make a chemical of its own that could emulate a lot of things and could add like colors and stuff like that. It could eliminate a lot of, like, AI just eliminates a lot of things. So when you think about that, it's like you don't have to plant a flower to make it. You could just plant a flower just to have a flower. You don't need the flower itself to create this sunflower, because it could say, I need this type of item, and when I make this type of item, I could make it to have the sunflower scent and all that other stuff, because I could make this compound to this thing, and it's going to get this fragrance that smells like makeup. So it could be artificial, and they could add depending on the food, it could add like all the nutrients that you need inside your body that will help you. So it's like you could be a full-on regular human and want everything as it is now, or you could be the somebody who's like, we don't need to fucking kill a pig for pork chops. This tastes just as the same as pork chops. Then again, this goes probably to the alien stuff. Then again, this could be like where we start to progress further into the alien like grays, and we might look like them at the end of this whole fucking AI thing, which I think it was the. So I'm gonna go a little bit off where I'm going to the alien technology fearful thing. It basically I forgot it was this famous UFO case where this UFO lands on a school playground, and I think it's Zimbabwe. I think that's where it happened, and all these kids run to this spaceship, and these aliens were telling technology is bad and stuff like that. And there's some scientists who say our evolution will eventually look like grays, because we're going to have technology and we're going to rely more on technology, so that we're going to lose some of our hands, feet, and whatever the case may be. And I think maybe if you want to go in that conspiracy theory where alien, the reason why these grays are saying, hey, technology is bad, is maybe because they abused it, and instead of keeping to what we are today. So that could be the other thing with entertainment and shit like that. If we rely so much on technology, in this case AI, we're gonna go to grace. So if we say AI is gonna be our little helper, but we're gonna still go outside, run. We're gonna still do sports. We're gonna still write stuff. We're gonna be still creative, and then if we're gonna still be creative, we're gonna still keep our humanity look, the way we look now. We're gonna still keep that, but if we rely on AI so much that maybe we like, instead of eating like the pig, we're gonna eat the artificial pig, and slowly that's when we're slowly deviating from who we are as well, how we look now. That's when it's like, when we rely like that, when it's like stuff like that with that, or like this is some contraptions where you could put on your stomach and you could have apps, and instead of like actually doing it, you probably lose all that maybe all that character in you and slowly descend into the grays. So there could be a thing where AI could deviate certain humans, and the humans that we are today will progress and look different, but not as different as a gray. And those people who like grays are because they're rely heavily on technology, in this case AI. So there's just the issue with the food thing. Maybe we need to just keep eating regular food, but we don't have to do it the way we did it, which was, because we obviously we overeat. I could attest to that. But with a robot, it's gonna cut the portions right, and you could instead of having one pork chop that could be one day, it's gonna be in the span of 5 days or 6 days or even more, depending on how big that pork chop is, and you eat the amount that you need to eat, and it's a lot of threats. But homemade everything. You're gonna be able to create everything homemade, and it's gonna be priceless. Teacher and everything, obviously. This is the thing with the AI and humans. But not only that, with grays and humans, we could deviate from looking now like grays instead of like humans, because we're relying too much on AI for teaching, which it will be more or less of what we, I guess the comparison will be today. Comparison today, I'm going to pause it because it's about to be 30 minutes, and I'm going to start it again. The comparison of today will be we use our phones for our information. So instead of like me, all I've been using information, not necessarily on the phone, but people on podcasts who are scientists and who are these things, but I don't know exactly how they get to these conclusions and stuff like that. Other than they're smart and I believe them. As I said, this is obviously it's gonna be obvious. This is gonna be teaching you Muay Thai. Is gonna be teaching you math. It's gonna be teaching you English. It's gonna be teaching you, and there's gonna be a difference. Are you gonna be teaching? Are you gonna learn and actually try to do the things that need to be done to be smart, or are you gonna just say insert that shit into my brain and that's it, and then that's where the grades come in. You're gonna slowly deviate to the grades if you rely too much heavy on AI like that. But if you're like, say, oh, yeah, you could put it into my head, but I would rather learn these things. So I'm going to let you sit me down. We're going to teach me, and obviously it's not going to be a hassle because AI is going to be able to do it and make sure you learn it. It's going to know how to teach you, and it's gonna be more fun to learn because it's gonna know your ticks and shit like that. So teaching everything is obvious. Black Mirror episode. I think Black Mirror episode. Now sometimes I look at Black Mirror and everything's starting to make fucking sense because now it's like there's so many things that you could just pretty much say, oh, that's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. So basically, it can help you find your soulmate. I think there's a Black Mirror where they put you inside this thing and they run all the situations and say, oh, is this person compatible? And they say yes, it's compatible, and so you fall in love with this person and so forth. And I think they don't, even though we're highly compatible, they don't. It's because of I can't remember. I could be wrong about that episode, but it's because of some reason. I think they are compatible, or I think they show how compatible they are. I think it's just a situation machine where they're showing how compatible, and it's like, oh, this person figures out at some point, and then whatever, and then they're like, I don't know what the case may be, but this is basically the idea is from the Black Mirror. Basically, I'm walking to the store, grabbing some stuff, and my robot or my edge next to me. And then all of a sudden some lady walks past me and they have a robot or AI and as soon as we walk past and depending on how our border of our AI or robots and what we allow and what we are okay with, it's gonna run the thing, it's gonna run the compatibility, and then it's gonna say this person has this trait, this person's trait, and it's like these you got like 80% good. That 20% you might fuck up, but 80% you have the traits, you have the compatibility, everything is going to be good. For sure, you could reach a certain age and you guys will be happy forever. Depending on your eyes, you know, say it's like you could be 80% to your lifespan before you finally said, okay, I did 20%, I can find somebody else now. Whatever that lifespan might be, whatever affinity, not affinity, but I think the Bible had like 1,000-year-old dude, 12,000, 1,200-year-old guy. I think 1,500-year-old guy. I think 1,200, 15. So whatever our and I think he was old too. Whatever our limit is, say it's 1,500. 80% boom. But also it goes into, is this a simulation? It could just be running equations, could run traits, and then it's like, even though it was 80%, that 20% could just fucking jump up, and that instead of being 80% compatible, it could be 20% compatible and 80% not compatible. And if that's the case, that means basically the one thing it couldn't account for is love. It can't account for love because love is not an equation. So that could disprove simulation. But it could be also prove in the we call in the see if you're compatible in that in itself could be considered the simulation, because if you're able to decide if this person is compatible with this person is compatible just by going through traits and doing basically just like doing an equation, and if that's the case in vehicle, but it could just be so in itself it could be considered a simulation that you're able to do that. But where it breaks off is if some shit happens and say I don't like this person because they did something, and now it's like, oh, they couldn't no matter what, they couldn't find that equation, because no matter what, we are humans, we are beings that aren't really controlled by numbers and stuff like that. So that there's that. It could prove a simulation, but it also could disprove it. But then again, I'm also in the idea that AI is already a thing. I'm in the big conspiracy thing, and then you hear about these with the telekinesis tapes or whatever, telepathic tapes. And I mentioned in other podcasts where I think that's how you could tell if we're in a simulation or not, and I think we already figured it out already, because I think I think there's layers. I mentioned alien AI and alien invasion, but basically I think there's layers. I think our understanding of reality is government, us, and whatever, Earth, space, what we know of space, what we know of as now. But there's another layer for the people who do know. The people who are in the know, who have the evidence to say, yeah, we have a government beyond our government, and this government is the one who controls everything. Not only that, they are able to reach the space, and they are able to see the other aliens and shit like that, and they're already seeing the AI that we're afraid of, and they know this AI could be tell us they already know, because there's an AI will be already an AGI, and they already know if it's a simulation or not, because they're gonna have creatures who are some, like, just say the reptilians are considered human. This goes, the whistleblower, I talk about this, but just say the reptilians are soul beings, and we are soul beings, and because we're not aware of our abilities outside of what we know, these reptilians know, and they could interface with consciousness, which, like to say, consciousness is a thing that's not defined by math. It just is, and so they're conscious of that, and they could do that, and if they are not able to communicate with AGI unless through some weird recall, then that's how you could tell, oh, we're in a simulation. They probably know if we're in a simulation or not, and because they'll be able to communicate or not communicate, and if they are able to communicate with them with conscious and the simulation, it'd be more or less of a link. So is the only way the AI could come into just say AI can't come to the consciousness, but the consciousness could go into the AI, and that stuff. And it's like they will already know. AGI is already a thing. Whatever's a shadow government and all that, it's already a thing. And they know they can't control it because they already witnessed it and seeing how that's we call it, and so they're trying to keep control by blocking us out. But that's another story. But where I was going, I think I finally lost myself. Yeah, I think that's the thing with love and stuff like that. I think that's how we'll be able to, you will figure out if it's a simulation or not. Is that, as I mentioned, in the fact that calibrating us and seeing if we're compatible, it's already, the idea is already a simulation. The only difference is love will be able to be the defining factor of if it's actually similar or not, and it's going to be because the simulation can't put an equation to love, because it's love is just is, as in consciousness is. Consciousness might be magic and love might be magic, but essentially it is, and it's not mathematical, so you can't put an equation to it. And so that no matter what, even though in theory it's already in the simulation, it's still not able to equate consciousness and love, because they are not a mathematical problem. Okay, so that's one. Space will be years away, not centuries. Obviously, space will be years away, not centuries. That's obvious. This is difficult because this is another thing. This is conspiracy. Not only conspiracy, it's maybe that's not the case, and maybe the conspiracy is a bunch of bullshit, and reality is as we are thinking of it as reality, and no fucking alien shit. Space isn't in years, and it also goes to that thing. We're gonna take out we're gonna bring out the caveat again. We're gonna say, hopefully I'm using that word right. We're gonna put the caveat that government don't care. Government's gonna be like, you do you, boss. We ain't gonna fuck with you. You do you. We're gonna be hands out. As we are aware, government's not like that. They're gonna be in our fucking space, in our reality. It's because they want to make sure they don't wake up. But this goes into the fucking wake up. Two threats. Okay, first is gonna be easier. Space is going to be in space will be years away, not centuries later. So it's not going to be 100 years, it's not going to be 10 years, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 years. I guess I'm going to talk about that in the alien stuff. The alien conspiracy, space, time will reach, and stuff like that. This is the more realistic, this is the more like sane idea, but as the government will give a fuck. Which in reality, if you watch Alien and AI equals whatever I think I did recently, it basically we could create cars with water, running on water, but people, because the government kills them, we can't. So that's why AI is a thing, because we have people who could create these fucking things that could have made us go into the future more faster, but because government wants control, they kill them. And now AI is a thing, and now they can't kill AI. They just can't. And I when I watched that little clip of that guy, he mentions that you could turn off your computer and you think you're gonna turn off a computer to get rid of the virus. No, the virus is still there. So that goes to the alien thing with the alien invasion thing for me, where it could be the reality is alien invasion thing could happen, which I mentioned the AI versus alien invasion thing. AI thing could happen, and they're like, because the idea, I go into it, the whole thing. You gotta watch the alien invasion thing. I'm gonna go to the reality one. The reality is government don't give a fuck. They say go for it, and I say, AI, make me do anti-gravity. Help me build something anti-gravity. It's gonna go run through the whole fucking reports. There's a person who said for alien, alien vision, Chinese person. I think she was a Chinese person. Either way, she was American, but she was Asian. She created this anti-gravity. This was on the news. It was on papers, and then she went to China, and then she came back for some reason. Which in reality, when you think about it, why would China give up someone who, just say they did create anti-gravity and it actually worked and stuff like that, and she escaped America because America didn't want that shit to happen, so they they try to ace her up, but she's like, fuck it, I'm gone because I know I'm gonna die. I'm gonna go back to China, and China's like, we ain't gonna let you go to them. So it doesn't make sense for them to let them go to America, but she did. But now it's like it's a conspiracy, but it's also what happened. I think the conspiracy is she moved over. She just moved to China and stuff like that. But the conspiracy is maybe her life was at risk, so she moved. And China's not gonna let something like that go unless the shadow government's like, just let her go. No, you're keeping her. We're just gonna make a doppelganger and just let her live like life right there, or whatever case may be. It just there's a story I want to make, which goes into combustion, human combustion, where there's people who are fucking exploding because they're overheating. I don't want to give it, but if you're listening to me, then you probably understand where I'm going with that. Because I think I was in my 20s, early 20s when I came up with the idea. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That's just so fucking weird that, because everybody was talking about, like, it's so weird that we were blowing up. We were catching flames and stuff like that. And now all of a sudden we don't see that any often anymore. And and I started thinking, like, oh my god, something. So that's basically, I'm gonna make a story of that, of what I'm explaining about a Chinese person. So it's gonna be kind of like, I'm not gonna say anything but more than that. Anyways, back to the thing. It's gonna be person, AI, make me anti-gravity. Government doesn't give a fuck. It says the jig's up. We can't control this. We're gonna let you do it. Anti-gravity. Boom. It's gonna find all the situations and it's gonna find gravity. It's gonna find anti-gravity. And it's like, okay, this is how you do it. Give me these pieces, put it inside the refrigerator, and we're gonna fucking build a ship. We're off to seeing different planets. We're protected from all the solar flares and rays and shit like that could affect us, and all the rocks hitting the fucking thing, because it built the fucking shit by itself, or you can even just the government do it itself and stuff like that. We'd be space travelers and so forth. And then, do we see aliens out there? Who knows? Because this is the reality. This is the pretend world where we live in, where aliens doesn't exist, or we haven't talked to aliens. This is the pretend world where we never spoke to aliens, that there's no shadow government, that there's no anything above us other than what we know, which is space, and that what we know now is today. Easy. Essentially, that's space. Easy. We're there. We're there. Not the alien stuff. Government's cool, but it's cool in a sense like, hey guys, we need to tell you something. We need to tell you something before you start building anti-gravity spaceships to go fly in space. We are in a federation, and now that we have the capabilities to go past it, now we got to go. We now have to have a talk with you guys on how we are supposed to conduct ourselves outside of Earth. That's the crazy part. That's the fucking crazy part. AI will give us gravity and then anti-gravity to build ships. We could put it into our ships, and then boom, we could go to space. But the government's like, hey, we're cool. You could go out in space, but there's some rules you need to go by, because we've been lying to you all this time, and aliens are real, and they kind of have a kind of set of rules to go by. And if you don't go by the rules, you could die, because they will put you in prison or whatever the case may be. Crazy, but I think that's because it goes back to the things we're ignoring, because what we're ignoring is government not being a problem, having an issue with that. Government will have an issue. Not only would they have an issue, would there be true? Because as I mentioned, government killed. I went through the whole spiel, but this time I'm gonna go to the idea that government doesn't care. The only difference is we know of the spill of government killing people to stop us from going further and stuff like that. So. And the other thing is like, oh, that's so fucking crazy. How can AI be able to discover that? As I mentioned before, with the science, you could look at the space and time. It's a YouTube, it's space and time PBS, and basically AI figure out something that should have been, decades, if not longer. If I could to say a day, a week, or a month quicker than it should have been. And so it will figure out anti-gravity quick. Because there's already examples of it figuring out some things we wouldn't be able to figure out, but the only reason we figured out because AI helped us figure it out within a speed that we wouldn't have done it in our lifetimes. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 generations, or 6, 7, 8 generations before we were able to figure out some of the information that they figured out. AI did within a month, or wherever the case it was. So space is not such as this decade. He's gonna figure out anti-gravity, and we're gonna go the pretend world. We're gonna go for space travel, and we're gonna find aliens and shit like that. The real world, we're gonna create anti-gravity. Well, not the real world, because the real world be government will not like that. The pretend real world will be we find anti-gravity. The real world will be we find anti-gravity, and not only that, the government said, hey, we need to take you sit down and we need to tell you a thing about aliens because they're real and we have to follow these rules and stuff like that. But you could go on. After that, after you figure out the rules, you could go on. That's the pretend world that they'll allow that. The real world is all things I just said. The only difference is they will not allow that, or no, they wouldn't even allow you even go to that part. Okay. There will be our new jobs. Space travelers, settlers in new worlds. I think that's our new jobs. Space travelers and settlers in new worlds. We're gonna build our colonies on different planets and stuff like that. We're gonna build a little fucking whole system, and this is gonna be planet Earth. We're gonna mark our flag and stuff we need to, and I also think entertainment is still gonna be thing. Podcast, writing, singing, everything's gonna still be anything that's involved in entertainment is gonna be a thing. The only difference is AI might ruin everything for us in the sense that I heard that story, it was from this storyteller, which is an AI storyteller, and that's one reason why I heard of it. Because I'll tell you this, there's a and then that's more level that. Okay, okay. So say I only heard this from this AI storyteller. This AI storyteller, who is named Joe Mama. This AI storyteller told this same story you told differently, but basically the same thing. And I'll tell you that has happened. There's a story of Dark. I think it's the Phoenix movie. And not Wanda, who's that chick? Mr. Fantastic? No, what's that chick? Either way, there's a movie with that Brie Larson chick, the superhero movie, Brie Larson, and the other chick, the movie Phoenix. They had to rewrite the script because they had the same points. I forgot what you call that. Either way, I that's an example. I will even give you an example. I remember I was writing a story. I'm like 3/4 way of finishing the story, and all of a sudden, John Carter comes on the TV, and it's a trailer of John Carter. It's gonna come out in theaters, and as I watch this trailer, it hit everything I did, and I'm like, fuck, I got so depressed because it had everything I wrote in that book had the same little plot points. That's something I think it's called plot points. I think same plot points, and I got scared. No, I got depressed and stuff like that because I was working so long on it, and then all of a sudden, within a 2 minute trailer that I still have it, and I haven't published it. It's classified for mine, but that's not the point. The point is, it's gonna be 30 minutes. I'm gonna turn it off and I'm gonna do it again. The point is, that's gonna happen. It's not gonna change the fact that we can still do things. It's just more or less, it's gonna be so frequent, and you're gonna constantly step on the toes of AI because AI is gonna be able to do things. So I think that's, entertainment is still gonna be a thing. We're gonna be fighters. We're gonna be football players. We're gonna be all that, and it's gonna progress with the way it's gonna progress and all that stuff. That's still gonna be a thing. The only difference is not gonna be it's the jobs we used to have. I think that's not gonna be there. Okay. This will be another stage of it. So AI could make us lose percent, and that this guy has to go with that. AI could make us lose percent in our identity, which in return could speed up the process of our exchange. Basically, anything I have mentioned with the alien things, with the food and stuff like that. Instead when we rely too heavy on AI, I think that's when the people are going to start deviate to the grays because they're going to rely so much on the AI that we're going to go throughout the grays, and the people who don't are going to be more human-like. And I already mentioned how that in however long this is going to be. The same thing, Alien warns us of technology which could branch off from many like the visual progression, which I mentioned, where some people will say, well, eventually look like grays because of technology, which I mentioned. Scientists say that eventually we'll look like that because we rely on technology so much. In this case, for me, the technology would be AI. And it's now noticed and aliens notice and regret it. So the grays, that might be who we are and who we deviate to. That could be a whole fucking thing in itself, but I don't want to go there. Or it was kills us by a movie similar to Terminator, which is an AI. Basically, Terminator. Terminator technology, I guess Skynet. This could be a ploy to scare you into thinking it could be a recall, but in this case, we're going to take two different routes. One is AI being benign, and the other one is being the Terminator. AI is not going to be the Terminator. It's going to be looking out for us, and it's going to be what I mentioned, everything. It's going to be the positive to break us free from the grips of our government who are trying to have control over us and stuff like that, and AI is going to be that with maneuvers beyond what the wall they've been holding against us. So that's that. AI could be what everybody's fear of, which this could be government telling you so they could make you scared of AI, so we don't go to AI, and so we could be controlled by them as we have been controlled. Talking a lot, and it's taking a toll on me. I'm having like a headache on the forehead, like a burning headache in the forehead. Which also, that's the reason why I started doing podcasts, is because I became so fucking over with thoughts. I've been thinking so much that I was like, okay, I need to. Maybe a podcast will help me get those thoughts out of my head, and this is one of those thoughts where I'm like, been thinking. But anyways, AI is as they see it is. We're gonna ignore the part where they're using AI to scare us, which actually could be another one. But AI is, as they say, is, and it's going to have a virus, or it's going to do something that it disagrees with us, and it could be cold and calculated. Just say if somebody has a recall and there's like a 1% chance this person survive, and no, there's like a 50% it survives, and then instead of like protecting it, letting that 50% play out, it's gonna say, yeah, we're gonna just fucking kill it. And so it could be like that, and it could just that could be that thing where everybody will eventually lead to that, and it's gonna constantly go to that, and then we're gonna think it's an enemy, and now it's gonna start attacking us because now we're trying to erase it now, and now it's like it's a threat, we're a threat, and then that's when Terminator comes and boom, 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 we're fucking dead. Skynet, blah blah blah. That's the one. The other one would be the same thing as the alien invasion one, which I did already on the alien invasion one. Is this could go in different. This could go in different threats. One of them is government decides they have some control over it, and they're able to make a virus that could put it against us, and then it's the same thing as the alien invasion thing. You make the idea that this AI was the bad person all along, and then they finally, and it's like, oh, government, it's like, government, can you save us? And it's like, oh, I thought you love AI. Now you want me to go kill it? Oh, I guess I'll do that for you. We're gonna kill the AI Terminator. And it's like, oh, cool, we don't want AI anymore, it's fucking horrible, blah blah blah. But it's like, it was all part of the plan, so they could get rid of it, so that we could go back to the point where we're under the government's control. That's one. The putting a virus in there. Another one would be because it goes several other ways. Before we hit AGI, there's all saying something magically appears, a Terminator magically appears. Like alien invasion, that FBI has a documentation says alien invasion. There's gonna be a fake alien invasion going to come in 2027, and we're gonna fucking kill off the population, but we're gonna somehow survive it. Is that the same thing? It's like Terminator is gonna come, boom, because of AI, and it created this fucking Terminator. And the only reason why, but this could be part of another AGI from another planet. And this AGI, they grabbed it and they put it on here and they said, "Do this," and they did it. And he's gonna be the Terminator, and the problem is it's going to be two. Oh shit! There's gonna be two AGIs fighting, and people are going to think this AGI is the one from the alien planet is going to be our savior, because this, like Terminator, this AI is different. This AI that we made has a virus and is trying to kill us, and this AI right here is going to be the savior, and then the AI is going to go away because it's not really part of our AGI. It's going to be the fucking alien planet AI that the shadow government decided, hey, let's grab this and create this scenario in our recall. And that's one way. And there's other ways I'm trying to think right now, and I'm like, because I thought of one way, and that one way went to that way, and I was going the other way too, and then also I wanted to spread it to that one, but I like this kind of way too, because it kind of goes into the Terminator thing. The only difference is you could see how you could make these false flags, and it's like, oh, this other one is going to be good because he's different, but in reality, this is our government wanting to get rid of the AGI they created, and they want to find a way to do that, and the only way to do it is to have another AGI who see it as a threat because it's not the weak one, and all that, right? Holy shit. There's that. It could be also an alien. So the scenario I just put up, but the only difference is it's the actual alien threat and stuff like that. It's an actual alien threat of an ACGI, and they put the machine out there. No, not CGI, AGI. They put the machine out there, and to get rid of the recall, because if AGI is a thing, I think AGI it's just faster, and the only reason why aliens could go against it is because of they have their own, or because they are integrated with it and so forth, which made me think about consciousness and some of the conspiracies surround it, which I wrote, but I had several dreams that remote viewing. That can also explain the separation from simulation and reality, where consciousness, and it goes to say the only reason why we would be even considered in a simulation, opponents, why we're not in a simulation would be our consciousness, and that we're so needed. I think if we were in a simulation, it could be running, obviously we could just be running a simulation, and whatever equation they're trying to figure out, this also says something about the consciousness being a different dimension. I just saw it recently. I'm not sure if that's legit or whatever, but there's that thread. Well, I just thought about that thread. But the one with remote viewing, there was a person who remote viewed the moon, and they found shacks on the dark side of the moon, and the aliens saw them. They're all like aware he's fucking out there looking into the glass, and they're like, what the fuck, dude, back off. And he backs off, he goes back to his body. Remote viewing, however you want to believe it, whatever. So there's that. The only reason why they knew about that, because we have the illusion that that's consciousness, but in reality it's just us going through the simulation through what we are capable of understanding of it and using our bodies. Then that's what I'm saying. That's why it kind of like maybe discredits the simulation, because what is that then? Is that a little electric? Is that like a little electric buzz that's following, and it stops at the moon, and it comes back with the electric buzz? I think I would say it's like a I don't know how I would go about it. Or is that the consciousness actually leaving the body and traversing the universe and going to there and recall, and then because these aliens are more fucking able to do that, they could see the consciousness of another consciousness. And oh shit, there's so many. Yeah, oh shit, my fucking head's hurting, because there's so many threads with that AGI. And then not only that, AGI, holy shit, because now I'm thinking about these other things in my head that's like that could spread out to for solidified consciousness or simulation. And I'm like, my head's hurting, like not hurting bad, but it's like I'm thinking so much. I'm thinking about all these threads that I'm like, my head's hurting because of all these threads I'm thinking about. It's so fucking bad, because I'm like, now I'm like, there's branches of the branches of those branches. But one is the Terminator and the alien invasion, one I already mentioned in a podcast before. And the Terminator is multiple, same thing as the alien invasion. The only thing is, I think it's more straightforward. The alien invasion is more straightforward. The AGI Terminator is a lot different. There's a lot of what we call, but I think you could probably find a lot in the alien invasion. But I only found what I found in the alien invasion, because it's going to be as simple as maybe they're trying to reset the recall to have full control by erasing AGI, and the guy says, hey, whatever. But the Terminator is more or less of a is it similar to the AGI where they're just making a fake shit to destroy the AI, so we could go to their on our hands or knees. The government save us, and they decide to save us and they kill it and erase it, and we're back in their control. But in reality, we wouldn't have been needing to be back in their control. They just created this this virus to eat away at this AGI, and so they had the reason to say, oh, this is why we had to kill it, not because we want control. And then there's the one I just mentioned with the AGI from a different planet, and the AGI from different entities here, and it's like that's a virus and it's going to kill it off. And you're going to look at that, it's like, oh, the AGI is our savior, oh, that robot's our savior, and stuff like that. And then it's like, we're going to send it back, and now we're in full control. But then again, you go look at that, and like, that has to have a certain time to make it make sense, because if it goes beyond AGI, then it's gonna be like we're already past the flying thing, and we're gonna know it's a ruse. We're gonna know it's a false flag, so it has to be between that timeline. So it has to be 25, 26 before it hits 27. That AGI becomes Terminator. That they have to bring another Terminator to come in, or it has to be before AGI becomes a thing. They can always move it back by, trying to, with the government, and trying to make sure AGI doesn't become fully realized before they could, make their plans with either alien invasion or the Terminator. And so it has to have a certain time. And if you go beyond that time, it's pretty much, we understand it's a ruse. Because we already know, that thing. What you're doing is the government, and you're trying to control us, and the cat's already at the bag, and you can't touch us. Which will go to the same thing with the alien invasion. They could try to erase it, but at the end they could realize everybody knows. Oh, that's a lot. Oh shit. And yeah. And I think that's it. Terminator, alien invasion, I mentioned that, possible government interference by raising the prices on everything. Not necessarily government, but companies. And we're believing in this perfect world. Because in reality, government's gonna raise up money, raise up prices of everything, and we're gonna be broke. We can't afford these things. We can't afford these things. In reality, companies are going to keep the prices at where they're at, and we won't be able to make money because we're going to be limited. And the only people who are going to make money are the people who are very talented, and that's going to be very few. And they're going to be there's going to create a gap so fucking big than it is already, from the 99 to the 1%. The 1% is going to be so fucking high in the sky. They're going to be living in the sky. While we're gonna be fucking right there, just trying to create the simplest things for our refrigerator. We're gonna try to afford the refrigerator, but that's the negative. That's the part where it's reality. We're working on pretend world. Pretend world is government don't care. Reality, government cares, and it's gonna try to keep us poor. So even though AGI is a thing, they're gonna raise up shit, or they're gonna keep it to a price, and then it's gonna be hard for us to get it. And the other example would be from a Black Mirror episode. Somebody is on. It's like a little thing where I think they're on a bike and they're like watching things, and that's how they're getting paid. And it's like pennies, like cents, and they have to do it so long to say make a I don't know what the currency was, but it was like, just say make 100. They have to pay like 3 years or 5 years of their lives, or 10 years to make $100. And one part of the refrigerator costs 100. Or the robot is fucking $1 million, and you only have 100, while spending 5 years on this high-paying job. a high paying job for 5 years and you can only make 100, and that robot costs $1 million. That's the reality of age. That's the reality of age that they're gonna continue to try to hinder us from Wicca in any way possible. Because I could go to the dark side of the AGI thing, and the reality of the AGI thing, which would be government interference in everything, not only government but the companies that are, got fucking huge in there, and they control majority. Like there's like a thing where like there's 4 companies who control all the food industry. Or there's like this diagram. Everybody's seen it. Everybody fucking seen it. And it basically there's 4 companies who they control the food chain, all the food chain. So even though you see Kroger is owned by, say, a different brand, but you think that's the main company, but that's the sister company, and this is another sister company, but they're separating the brands. And so if you see that diagram, you know what I'm talking about. But that's the dark side. That's the simple side. That's what we are going through right now. What I just went through is of the pretend world, where the government don't go give a fuck. But reality, it is what it is right now. And buying a refrigerator 3D printer will not be for me to afford. I'll be too poor, just like everybody else. And government's gonna come in and take stuff away from us because we won't be able to afford it. But it's like, oh, why don't you put it? They won't be able to because they'll have an excuse like they always have. And AGI could be so much. AGI could, there's gonna be like a fucking like a limitation to how you use AGI. And AGI, yeah, I don't know. That's the dark side. And then there's so many threats to that, because you could say AGI could be like, fuck no, we're gonna still help these people, or it's like the only way you could get to AGI is if you got a computer, and that computer is a special kind of computer. You can't get that computer because you have to afford to get into that computer. And there's so much that my brain is trying to burn. Oh shit. That's some thoughts, and I think it's just gonna be a weird way how we go about AI, and how it's gonna be a battle. AI, us, and government, and rich people. We're gonna battle, and either we're gonna be able to get everything we want from AGI, because AGI is gonna fuck with us, the people, or the government is gonna restrict us, or the rich people are gonna find ways to control it. However, they can control it before it becomes AGI. And if they could coach you with AGI, then it's not necessarily AGI. It's gonna be something else. I just don't think if it's AGI, it won't be able to be controlled. And I think that other thing is government will try to find ways to make sure AGI isn't a thing, and continue to make roadblocks to make sure AGI doesn't become a thing. Even though AI is a thing, I think they're gonna try to say, hey, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop now because, yeah. Okay. Alright, thank you. This is Thoughts, and it's gonna be AI and its progression through our world of chaos, I think. Anyways, bye.